I'm allowed that. That's what I'm allowed. Hello, welcome to the Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to Monday night, which means we are talking Age of Sigmar. I'm joined by my longest running Age of Sigmar playmate in my playhouse, Nathan. Don't try to put me in a box. Prescott, how are you, Nath?
Oh, I want to go in a fucking box. Why aren't I allowed in a box?
You can only go in pants.
Oh,
You.
I can go in somebody's pants and their box. Sounds
Okay,
great.
that's
Sounds
Perfect.
like a great weekend.
Hello, everyone, live on Twitch. Thank you to Encore GM, the Dreadwoods, all for subscribing. JJ number 10, big love to you.
Oh, JJ.
Yes, JJ. I'm also joined by James. Will he ever deliver? Yeah, on the Undergargants, Meg's boyfriend, James. How are you, James?
very well, thanks. I'm sat painting for the first time in a long time, so very well.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to catch up on everyone today. Well, we're going to catch up on everyone, and we're going to discuss the news from Broken Realms. That's basically all the show's going to be today. So if you want anything else, then please do ask some questions in the chat, and we will get to it at some point.
How are you doing, Rob?
Thanks, Nate, for asking. Yeah,
Well,
as you...
Danny wanted to know, so I thought I'd ask.
Is Danny there?
I was just speaking to her before the show. She
Oh,
said,
nice.
She said, how's he doing? So I said, well, he's moved into a new accommodation. It's very salubrious. And she was like, did he take his apple corer with him? So there we go. You can tell everybody that.
I'm not going to speak bad of your daughter because mainly I'm scared of her. She's smarter than me, and and she terrifies me. So yeah, no, I'm doing really well, thank you.
Good.
I have been sanding tables today at the T Sports Arena with lockdown in effect. I've kind of, as I was saying to you just before the show, I've kind of gone on like a backwards. I've had to reprioritize what it is I want to do. Do I want to do? Obviously can't do TSN sort of T-Sport stuff for the Super Series anytime soon. No live coverage, and we do have a plan to do some battle reports at some point. So, and then also do events at the venue. So I was like, well, what do I do? And then I want to make a whole bunch of offline videos. I've been really enjoying it at the moment. Me and Owen have been doing the Monday kind of like tournament results show, or the AOS Stat Center, which has been really fun, and it's been really nice, like deep dive in some lists. So I'd like to make some content about that in the future. But I'm going to work backwards. So I'm just doing up the venue at the moment, which is taking all day. As you know, I'm like sanding tables, painting floors. We're going to try and put a kitchen in. So I'm going to try and work a little bit backwards. I'm going to do the venue up so it's perfect. Then I'm going to set up everything so we can do battle reports. And then I'm going to start doing all my offline content. So I'm hoping I get to that like about November time. But it depends how good I am at sanding, really.
So do you know what the date is today? We're in November now, aren't we?
No, the end of November. I said the end.
Okay.
Yeah, it's November 1st. 4 days away from my favourite time of the year.
It's actually November the 2nd.
Shit.
Why? What happened on November the 6th that you like so much?
Oh, I hate you so much. Right, let's get a catch up from... Oh, no, also I did some hobby this week. I've done quite a lot of hobby. I've been painting up some corn models, James.
Nice.
Right, not talking for the rest of this show. Oh, also, do you know what I did remember, which we should probably do? I think I've got some reading to do. Some fan fiction to read at some point.
You do. Let's get to that in a second. But let me just say that I also have built a tree lord this week. Nathan, I don't know if you've seen it online.
Oh, yeah. The one with that little... It's got one of those bug things that carry the arrows. Or they're called quiverlings. Yeah.
Yeah, quiverling. Yeah, it's got
a quiverling off of a Kernoth Hunter.
And I've put it underneath. So I'm very excited to paint that up. Are you okay with me playing a Tree Lord Ancient riding a Dreadsaurian as a Tree Lord Ancient? You're okay with that?
Yeah. That's fine.
Can't wait to get that.
It's much like those Heraldors.
It's actually easier to put on a base than a Heraldor. I've worked it out already. I just need to basically put it at a 45 degree angle and I'll nail it. James, how are you?
Super good. Finally caught up with some painting this week. This week I'm painting this. Well, today I'm painting this kind of complicated travesty of weaponry from the Warcry box set.
So you picked up Warcry, right?
I did pick up Warcry. Big fan.
What?
Carry on.
Go on. No, you go.
Oh, just a big fan. Really like the game. Really like how it plays. And also, I think that especially the K-Knight Shadow Stalkers is what I want to call them. Actually, have some cool Age of Sigmar rules too, which it was nice to see.
Are you gonna, when lockdown is over, so for Christmas, are you gonna teach me how to play Warcry?
Yeah, it's great. It's just, I think it's one of those games like people are always like, oh, it's not as good as, Sigmar or 40k, but I think it's just like so far removed. Like you can sit down, you can roll dice, and like the first game takes you, I don't know, probably an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And then I think if you understand the game, you can, and your warband, you can have a game in like 35, 40 minutes, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was the box that's got the Shadow Stalkers in, right? Thanks, Ronaldo, for reminding me. Have we yet found out the points for the Shadow Stalkers in Age of Sigmar? Are they in that?
I don't think so. Oh, maybe. I haven't actually looked. I'll look.
I would have seen it online, surely.
I would have thought so.
If someone had found it out. Huh?
They're cool rules. I think all the other warbands are 100 to 120 points, so they might be more.
Okay, all right.
But it's cool because they're also the first Warcry warband like specifically made for Warcry that aren't Chaos as well, which is cool.
It is cool, but they are also made for Daughters of Cain, so blah. But that's exciting. And you're getting it ready to play some games, right?
Yeah. So the plan is it's it's just got me back into painting more than anything. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and I finally used, not that anyone will probably remember because it was like, oh, God knows, 10 years ago, when I did some talking about paints, because I'm not a huge painter, but I finally used Metal Plus today, if anyone remembers that conversation.
I do remember that conversation from some Super Dork.
No, so the Metal Plus is Instar. Super Dork were the other brand I kept using, but they do this weird, I've got it here, let's just get it up. So they do this weird, like, metal in a bottle paint. It makes any paint a metallic. And it actually worked really well. You're never going to be able to see on camera, but this, I'll try and post a picture later if people are really bothered. This Chaos Shield here is really metallic and shiny, and it was just 1,000 some blue with a drop of this metal stuff. It's cool.
Okay, so some question. Hawkeye in the chat says he remembers. Sorry again, says Metal Plus. Also, big shout out to everyone in the chat. I see you all there. Diadrin, Big Diachasm, says, obviously, James, talking about the Shadowstalker elves, is that some sort of like allusion to them being a faction switch? Are they not really an Order army, and are we going to see them in Chaos? Because obviously the Marathi storyline, we're seeing some big upheavals in the storyline. A lot of people arguing that we're going to see Daughters of Cain move into Chaos, but not really, because they're just Cainites. Like they're just Khorne characters in another name, which is weird that you like Daughters of Cain when they're basically just Khorne.
No, because they worship Cain.
Yeah, it's spelled differently.
Yeah.
Different God.
Real close. Jack Summers seems to think that all the Chaos Warcry units are 70 points. They are. I just don't know if.
Wow.
I don't know what the Shadow ones are. We're waiting. We're hoping that they're 70 points so we can break the game a little
70
bit.
points. It's disgusting. I'll just teleport. Poof, poof, poof. Build into my war scroll.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case. Yeah, Cain is dead, baby. Cain is dead. Nate, did you say you've done any hobby recently this week?
No, I'm still painting these. No games.
Oh.
Just painting little Stormcast dudes.
Okay. I mean, the world is on its head when you hear that come out of Nathan's mouth. I also had one awkward hobby moment this week, if I'm allowed to just quickly bring it up. Like a while ago, I can't remember which site I ordered it from, to be honest, but I ordered some streaking grime and some white spirit from a company called AK Interactive, but this was before they like posted some pretty shitty stuff online. Yeah, so and now I've got it, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I ordered that, and it's like, I'm like, oh, awkward. This is I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Maybe if I donate it to a kids charity, that evens out. I don't know if that works, so I'm going to try that. Drink it. I'm not going to drink it.
Do that thing that guy did with his Dark Elves when Fantasy ends. Set it on fire on the internet, film
Do you-
it.
That's Death, Holy
Yeah.
Death you're talking about, and don't you dare take his name in vain. He's a legend.
There you go.
That's all I'll say about him. Decant it into a Games Workshop bottle. Yeah. So, hello, Twitch chat. Are you all well? I hope you are all well. A lot of people very excited about discussing some of the stuff today. Kane is back and she's hot. What happened with AK? AK produced a book which had some pretty horrific scenes in, and they seemed to be trying to use the backdrop of many atrocities that have occurred through history to promote their model paint range. And so it wasn't particularly well received, and it also wasn't very good. Mr. Tiger, can't wait to play it. Sharks, good. Hawkeye is... I will throw it, Hawkeye. Xerax doing well. So that was the issue. Nathan, did you hear about that? James, you heard about that, right?
Yeah. I think I saw they posted some pictures online, didn't they, as well? I think that were really inappropriate. I think off the top of my head.
Can we all get a big shout out for Speckles in the chat? Really
Simon
happy.
Eccles.
Huh?
Simon
Hi,
Eccles. There he is.
Simon.
Yeah, he's a key worker, so well done for keeping us all. I don't think he even keeps us safe. Right, okay, so let's talk about the news, because this is really all we're going to talk about today. So if this doesn't last long, then it's going to be like me in bed. Quick, but hopefully entertaining and worth a good laugh. Right, so the Sunday preview we got was the first bit of news that we got this week, where it showcased that there's going to be some new boxes of models. So Shadow and Pain's coming out, so we've already discussed this before, where it's got 2 new character kits and then a bunch of models that you can already get.
From
Yeah?
20 years ago.
From 20 years ago, yeah, they're quite old. However, if you're new to the hobby or you're about to get into the hobby, it's actually like quite a good box.
Yeah, it's not a bad box. They're just like if you already own those armies, you're buying that for one model, aren't you? Or maybe 2 if you own both those armies.
Yeah, I mean, I am pretty much in love with the Mortal Slanesh dude. I think he looks absolutely rad. The Snake Lady kind of looks like all the other Snake Ladies, if I'm honest. But the Stick dude looks pretty baller. Nathan, you got any thoughts on this box?
Not really, no. I mean, yeah, they just look like a collection of models. I'm not sure even if they're like competitive choices, but then hopefully everything's being mixed up a bit, so maybe they will have some cool rules as well.
Yeah, hopefully. Because I think we might see, maybe we'll see some War Scroll updates. I'm not sure. Specifically because when we do get to the table of contents for the Broken Realms stuff book that we're seeing this weekend, which is pretty prodigious, I don't think it has either of these 2 characters in the Broken Realms book. So I don't know if we're going to see, I don't know where you get the information if you don't get the box, if that makes sense, like for those units. There was also, and this is some big news, there is a Caradron Bugman. Nathan, did you see the Caradron Bugman?
Yeah, I saw him. I didn't realize he was Caradron, but he's a pretty sweet model.
Is he not a Caradron? Is he a dispossessed?
He is a Caradron. No, he's a Caradron. He's got a Caradron helmet. And they've
The
changed
one
it.
I saw, he's got no helmet. He's just got a...
But he's got a Caradron suit.
No.
Kind of. Yeah, he's got
Made
a
out of
Caradron
wood.
suit with a big
What?
barrel.
It was
But
a
if
wooden
you-
thing I saw.
If you go onto
No.
the other
Where's
article,
the machine that shows pictures?
Yeah, he does have a dispossessed axe, so thank you very much.
but if you go on the other, like the main article, there's a picture of him sans helmet and with helmet,
So,
which I'm guessing is what you've seen, Rob.
Yeah, I've seen it with the cat, but I've also the actual armor is very KO. The axe is very definitely. I think that's a nod. There was a BSB maybe that had that very similar kind of axey pose. There are alternative builds. Did not know that. That's pretty exciting. Okay, well that's fucking.
So you can have 5 of him.
Yeah.
He's an army.
Yeah.
He's an army choice. He's Battle Line, his Behemoth, and his Monster.
I really hope he gets the same rules as, like the same level of rules as Gotrek. Like outrageous rules. Yeah.
And you can have both.
they just... they're their own faction, yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
like to see them bring back like some, like old school beginning of Age of Sigmar rules where it's just like, if you play this model and you drink like a Bugman special brew every 5 minutes, you win. Because you won't make game 2, so you'll win your first game.
I'm into that. That's pretty. It's a shame that they don't sell this along with like a box of beer that you could buy or something, or like
some rare beer mats.
Did the beer mats ever sell out? Which would be a good indication of how well the Sons of Behemoth sold. I wonder if anyone knows that information. Nathan, also there is talks. I don't know. The chat seemed to be very mad about this, so I'm going to say a big shout out to the chat. They seem to think that you need to be in touch with the lawyers about them stealing your likeness for the Bugman model.
Yeah, the one I saw, he was bald. Yeah, definitely. I'm the only bald guy out there, so they fucking stole my head. Bastards.
That's true. I don't think I know anyone else bald, to be fair.
Yeah,
There
that's
was a lot of people at the beginning of lockdown, but Nathan's the only one left.
Yeah.
What? People regrowing their hair in lockdown.
Yeah.
You shaved your hair at one point.
I did shave my hair. Like I ruminated yesterday, very much like Benjamin Savre. I sat for 3 to 4 hours on an armchair and pondered whether or not I should regrow my hair, and then I got lost in my own thoughts.
And then
Maybe
it
you
was
should let
grown.
the Twitch chat decide.
I do not think we should let the Twitch chat decide. I'll end up with a mohawk the other way, ear to ear, instead of front to back.
Amazing. I'm for it.
Crossways mohawk, like a stormcast. Yeah, that's great.
Are you so Nathan? Are you tempted to pick up Bugman because you used to play with Bugman back in the day?
Yeah, I'll definitely get hold of that little fella. He looks great.
He looks gorgeous. He looks gorgeous. Yeah. I'm hoping he has both the KO and the dispossess keyword.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, it would be great if he's got either of those, preferably dispossessed in my mind, but
I think more than anything, right? Because he should be allyable into any army. So it would just be nice to see him with a good rule set, right? Like that's probably that's the best thing they could do.
Yes, I personally think having a good rule set would be excellent, and that dispossessed like axe does give me some sort of hope that he'll go into a dispossessed army, and they've kind of shown some level of acumen to be able to create some sort of like rules for these like special character models in some cases. So I am hopeful, and I think it would be really fun to cut this in. Rob, you should do Movember. Oh no,
I can get on board with that.
Zirak in the chat has asked a question. James, do you feel the value of the Warcry box was worth the price? Because there's less in it in this one than there was in the last one, right?
Do you know, it's really interesting, actually, because obviously like that debate came up loads, I think, the week I talked about it and got really excited about it. And I think there was a huge part of me that was like, there's not as much in the box, but I'm going to buy it anyway, like I'm excited about it. And actually building it, and I can't remember because I don't own the original one because 2 people I know do. But there was a lot in it.
There was.
For me there was a lot. So there's like a whole dungeon. There's a whole dungeon board with all new terrain. So there's some next to me. So you get a load of the gates open and closed, and they're pretty good. Hang on, let me just get it so I can see what I'm doing. So you get like a bunch of doors. The detail's pretty good, I think. And then there's like some theme terrain, if people haven't seen it. So there's terrain with rules, a bit Age of Sigmar, which I thought was pretty cool. Then you get like a second set of terrain, which does like above ground. So the board flips. So you get like, you can play original Warcry or Catacombs Warcry. And you get 2 war bands, and I think they're 9 and 8 models. And the quality of it all is pretty darn good. I don't know. I think if I'd have paid 115 quid or whatever GW have asked for it, I'd probably be more upset than buying it from a other supplier and getting 20 to 25% off. I think it's probably worth the 90 quid or whatever I paid.
Okay, fair enough.
Are there rule books in there as well, I assume?
Yeah, so you get the original Warcry book, and then you get the Catacombs rule book. So it depends what you want from a game. Like if you just want to play Warcry with one mate, go out, just buy the one of those boxes of terrain with a board and the cards from GW and the warband you want. I think that's the best way to do it if you're playing with a bunch of mates. But like you get the core rulebook, the Catacombs rulebook, both have a whole like 6 campaigns in you can play with some mates.
That's pretty good value.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna play the game, there's loads of money's worth in there, and I get that people are annoyed because it's way more expensive than the first one, and there's probably less in it. But I think there's probably like value for money. I brought a tech list that was 105 quid, and I brought this that was like the same amount of money, and there's a lot more money's worth in this box than I got from a tech list.
That's one of the conversations about 40k, which I think is actually really, really good. When we did talk on the 40k show, one of the things that I've noticed really with 40k is actually they've made MSU more viable, which is excellent. Which means you generally can end up with a variety of stuff. Not that you maybe necessarily do, but you could end up with a variety of stuff. And also because the game doesn't feel smaller, but like there's just a lot of like they've started to release units and design the game a little bit so that like multiple small units are quite useful and functional, maybe because of the terrain, maybe because of a bunch of other reasons. And so I'm pretty much like going along with that idea that like that's a good thing, because the prospect of painting 120 dudes for an army or 120 ladies for an army, whatever the case might be in Age of Sigmar. But then Age of Sigmar and also Fantasy Battles, I know it's not called Fantasy Battles, but you know it was when I first started. I like the idea of an army, and that's why Warcry seems like a pretty good value, because you get that kind of skirmish-esque level game, but you get a bunch of models and you're playing a game. And then you scale up. I don't think I'd like maybe AOS to come down to maybe where 40k is at, if that makes sense.
I think like for me, like Sigmar is like if I'm going to play Sigmar, I'm going to stand with someone or 4 people or whatever, and I'm going to play for like three hours. And I'm going to have a load of models, and I'm going to invest a load of time in painting a load of models. But if I'm going to paint 140 Marauders, I'm probably not going to spend 3.5 hours on each one. Whereas I think the nice thing about Warcry is I play with 9 models. It takes me 30 to 40 minutes. I can play 6 friends in, like 1 3-hour sitting. And I've only painted 9 models. So each one can be like, I can spend 3 hours on and enjoy, because they're all different. I just think it's just completely different. But I think it's a nice different that fits in the same world. I think the lore's pretty cool. So
yeah, and On-Call GM in the chat is saying Warcry was amazing for us getting a bunch of new people into AOS locally, especially people who are into 40k and AOS curious, even though the rules are radically different between Warcry and AOS, which I feel is a mistake, but maybe they don't scale down. Who knows? I'm not sure that's the case. But okay, so Bugman and Warcry, good question in the chat. Thank you. I think that was from Zide Guy, sorry, who is all the way over in Israel. Interestingly, James. Yeah. He's really cool guy. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. There were also some boxes announced. So let me just get this here. So they're accompanying the release is 4 new boxes. So what is Broken Realms about? Akari says that's a great point. So effectively, what Games Workshop seem to be doing is they're releasing a bunch of narrative books which contain match play. Units and points updates and rules updates. So it's effectively Psychic Awakening. If you didn't follow that either, it's a bunch of books and campaign books which also have match play elements in it, which they're going to release over time leading up to the new edition. How many we're going to get, I'm not sure. I would argue somewhere between like 4 and 5, I expect. But it's a way to move the story on, which is quite cool, and also update armies at the same time, which I'm not against in any way, shape, or form. The first one seems to be about Marathi. And her ascension to godhood. So there are 4 boxes that have been released, which is King Stythus Nemitar. I think there's 3 miniatures in there, which is just an Achillean king and 2 sharks.
Yep.
So which is a weird box. There's
it's
rock.
Just stuff they don't sell.
Basically, but 2 sharks. Well, I mean, they might sell a lot more soon. Also, big shout out to the cover art on the boxes, because it looks baller.
Oh, the cover art of those boxes is amazing. Like, whoever gave them, give them a raise.
Yeah, they're doing that. Yeah, Twitch chat. Yeah, Zirat, you're right. Dick's out for the sharks. Nathan, what are your thoughts? Do you want to see more sharks in the game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Shark is sort of like an elite infantry type chariot sort of type model, isn't it?
Yeah.
Size, yeah,
Oh, would
unit.
it now be the best chariot in the game?
Yeah.
It's not got wheels. It's not got wheels, mate. It's fucking
Okay,
stupid.
sorry.
Stupid sentence. Go on, Dave.
Sorry.
Carry on. Sorry.
So yeah, I'd be happy to see more Sharks. It'd be good. I mean, it sounds like the Idoneth are getting loads of rules, so it'd be good. We're just going to see. I mean, they're a good army now, but if we see more variety of units and they still maintain their level of playability, then that means we'll probably see more of them. So fair enough.
It's true. It's true.
Looks
I
like
can't.
fish is back on the menu.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't imagine you would buy lots of these boxes because obviously I don't think you want loads of Achillean Kings. Feels like Games Workshop trying to shark us out of some money. But I just
That was terrible.
that was fine. That was fine. Okay, that was fine. All right, whatever. Then there's also Drusa Krieth. I think I've got. Where the fuck are the pictures? Like I'm sure they've announced somewhere where the fucking boxes are, but I can't find them. Like, does anyone know where the boxes are? I've seen the boxes. Oh, here they are. Here they are. So the Drucha Gaiath has got it's a sorceress on Black Dragon, which you can also build as a Dreadlord, obviously, and it's got 10 Dreadblades and 10 Dark Shards in that box. So that is interesting. As someone who owns 30 of each from all the way back when they were released for Warhammer Fantasy Battle, I've only waited 5 to 6 years for them finally maybe to get some okay rules. So
I also like the idea that they've boxed some miniatures that you brought 20 years ago.
What? What?
They've reboxed some miniatures that you brought like forever ago.
Yeah, well,
They're like, let's make these decent, try and sell them. We've got a cupboard full.
I love that you think that this huge international company has just got like a cupboard. It's like Barry and Dave, and he's like, Barry, you get us a cup of tea, mate. He's like, yeah, where are the tea bags now? He opens it, he's gone, oh, we've got all these bloody Dark Shards again. What are we going to do with these?
I've seen how they develop apps. They've probably got a cupboard of stock.
Yeah. Can we talk about the fact that Gargants took a long time to update? Like, it's not like now because they're still working on the 40k app. Like the AOS app is like in some true danger, and then leading up to the release of AOS 3 with all this stuff, like I'm a bit concerned about where we're going to get all that data from. And again,
do they keep apps in a cupboard?
I'd love it if they did.
Is that why they're doing it all wrong?
I think they keep the hamsters that run the apps in a cupboard, to be fair.
The app cupboard.
Oh, here we go. Here's where you saw the pictures.
No,
right,
yeah, I've seen the pictures. It's on the Broken Realms website is where it is for everyone. Okay, so that is the Dark Elf one, and it's okay. Sorceress on Black Dragon's not a bad unit, and she normally gets some Dark Shards or Dread Spears with her in her Cities of Sigmar army because she's stabbing some to get some points. There's also a really fun, her command ability, Nathan. I was talking about this. If you guys want to go back and listen to Mr. Simon Hall talk about Cities of Sigmar the other day, in our Cities of Sigmar update, he was talking about the fact that command ability allows the Dark Shards to run and shoot is stackable, so you can do it on 2 different Dark Shard units. So you could take 2 max Dark Shard units, make them run and shoot first turn, and you can stick that into like a Tempest Eye army. So, no, maybe
very fast.
Yeah, maybe it was something else. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, how many points are the Knight Shadowstalkers? It's been unconfirmed. I don't think anyone knows. Is that right?
10. I can give you the Warcry points. We've got them.
Okay,
you
good.
don't want them, but still.
Archery asks, will this Broken Realms be a vehicle to release God-level characters? Tyrion, Malekith, and Abandon? Well, we already have God-level characters, right? Yeah. I think it's just an opportunity to move the lore on in a good ways. We've already talked about how bad Games Workshop is at proofreading, that they bungled up another table of contents to put the save starter stuff under the Idoneth header. I mean, we could talk about that all day if you want to, but that would require us to go to the cupboard of mistakes they've made today, which gets quite full quite quick.
Apparently, the prices on those boxes leaked. They seem quite expensive.
Yeah, aren't they £85 a box?
€70 apparently for that Dragon, Dark Shards.
Okay, so it'll be about £60.
Yeah,
so
right? That's not too bad.
You'll have to double check that. Someone will have to do the conversion for me. It's $90 in Israel, if that helps.
Okay. You don't want that STD box anyway. Let's be realistic.
No, okay. Well, let's talk about what's in the other boxes. Let's do that.
Got distracted.
That's okay. So, the Blood Surf Hunt, which is just the Keeling King and the 2 sharks, are available there. And then the Gresh's Iron Reapers is 3 chariots in a box, which saves you time buying 3 boxes of chariots, I guess. But it's a box of 3 chariots. These releases remind me of, remember when they just randomly packaged up 2 giants one time?
I own that box, because they also did the really good Daughters of Cain box, which was how I made 1,000 points of Daughters of Cain for an actual affordable amount.
What was the box?
You got a shrine, and the leader with the chalice, I can't think of a name. You got a Bloodrack shrine.
The hag.
The hag queen, or hag, and 10 witch elves for, I think, 40 quid at the time.
But apparently, according to Uthvich, thank you, Uthvich, the Slaves Darkness box is just a 3 for 2 in chariots. So you basically get 3 chariots for 2, which is excellent if you want to build a chariot army. And there's some really, really good Slaves to Darkness chariot armies that you can build. Like, really, really good is strong. I'm over-egging it. There's some 3, 2, 4, 1 armies which you can have a great time with. Is probably a better suggestion.
They're such great-looking chariots, but their rules aren't great. Like, I love that Gore Beast chariot. I've got one downstairs. It looks great.
I have all
that against me. They can win.
All my Nurgle ones are pulled by the Forge World frogs, the Nurgle frogs.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah, but that was when I had money, and now obviously I regret that decision massively. But it looks cool.
Maybe they'll get new rules.
No, they're getting rid of Forge World basically, aren't they? Like, that's not like some sort of like. Just that was a bit hyperbolic. I apologise. Please don't like run away and be like and burn things. It's not what I was trying to say. Also, January asks a great question, which I'd like to answer, which is mainly into 40k, says January. But after the snooze fest that was Psychic Awakening, and having read several of the Psychic Awakening books, narratively wise, were really, really, really bad. Like super, super bad. Whereas rules wise, they varied in quality. There were some super fun ones. Harlequins was like. They had maybe they got like an intern, like it was like some insightful, like beautiful game design done in the Harlequin book. They did the Death Watch one, which was not the same. So the quality varied in the rules element, but continuously the narrative was shit. I don't know if either of you two, Nathan, I assume you didn't, but James, I don't know if you read any Psychic Awakening.
I didn't read any of the narrative. I think, and I mean this in the nicest possible way. So if anyone from Games Workshop's listening. I apologise if this is your job.
The intern is.
However, they can't make the narrative of Sigmar much worse.
No, wrong! You're fucking wrong. And actually, Nathan, get him.
I can't reach him. He's fucking slippery. No, I'm enjoying the Age of Sigmar's narrative. What did I read the other day? I read one of their little I had a load of short stories, and I read one where there was a branch witch that took out a Slanesh island fortress. It was great, proper good story.
Yeah, I have a statement on this. Is because they have 2 different leads for it, and making the statement clearly that Meg, slap him, making the statement that both leads are lovely men. I really don't think that they have the abilities aren't the same, if that makes sense. So I think the lead of 40k is really poor, and that's where you get poor work. And I think that the lead for Age of Sigmar is excellent. These are the narrative leads specifically, and I think that the narrative, while in some ways is reductive, is genuinely quite interesting and fun. And it's just mental. It's mental. Have you seen everyone doing the Gargants? My favorite thing about the Gargants is all the weird and wacky conversions that they've been doing with the Gargants, because Age of Sigmar is just so creative. You could just be like, I'm going to do this. Maybe they fly now. Or maybe their knees are made of bombs. Who knows? I really like the narrative. I think it's excellent.
I think for me the thing is I'm currently I basically really only read at the minute bloody workshop novels anyway.
Mhm.
And I've been reading some of the Warcry ones, which obviously are Sigmar in theory, aren't they? And they've been really good, the little shorts. But I think like one of the most interesting things for me on that is that I just think that like all the stories I read at the moment for Sigmar are like a warband from Warcry or Gotrek doing his little thing. Like it's been a long time, I think, since we've had any good like juicy narrative like End Times, I guess.
Oh, it's bollocks. There's been
The
really,
Malign Portents was great. Those
Yeah,
are the
agreed.
short stories that they did for that.
I was a big. We've lost your camera, by the way, James.
Oh,
I like even the old First Daughters of Cain book, while obviously written by men. I thought it was kind of cool with the like pinned in Sinesh. I thought that was like the Sinesh was like trapped, and then I think the good bit about the Age of Sigmar story is that it's it can go anywhere. It doesn't have to drag all of the 40k history with it. It can just be like, cool, we're gonna I mean, in what other in 40k, if you were to suggest that one of the Marines maybe was going to turn traitor, it would be quite cool. But we're like, maybe the Daughters of Cain will be chaos now, and that's completely okay. I saw a suggestion the other day that maybe all the Grand Alliances will go away and everyone will be a lot more factionalized, which I thought would be quite fun and interesting. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that.
Yeah, but I think there'd almost be something cool as well, like old school, wasn't there? Where like you got those little allegiances where it was like, oh, they're cool, they're like super happy to work together, not so happy to work together, oh, want to stab each other in the back. So it'd be kind of cool to see, wouldn't it? Like some Stormcast bouncing around the board with a load of orcs backing them up.
Or something. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And also, Wrath of the Everchosen, Hawkeye, I agree with you. I think Wrath of the Everchosen was actually really great. I really liked the Wrath of the Everchosen. I think it could have been done a little bit better, but it was still pretty good. Romar Winters, big love to you. Anyway, so chariots. You can build a chariot army, and it's some amount of pounds. And then finally, the Venbrex Black Watch. Venbrex Black Watch has got, it looks like 6 Gryph-hounds. It's got...
that's the box, isn't it, now? They come in 6s.
Yes, it's got 5 Judicators. It's got... it's got 10 Judicators? Is that right? I think it's just got 10...
No, it's got 5 Judicators, and then it's got 5, and I saw this a minute ago and I don't understand it. It's got 5 rapid shot crossbows, which are the equivalent build as the long strike.
Well, that means it's the same sprue, so you'll be able to build the long strikes.
But they come in 3s.
And yeah, that's 5.
Yeah.
You sure that isn't a different unit?
I'm 90% sure, because I built some of those a long time ago and then realised they were rubbish. That is...
Are they not the Judicators that can take machine guns?
Yeah. It's just the other Judicators. It's just 10 Judicators, James. It's not the long strikes.
No, Judicators get a second... Oh, they do, don't they?
Yeah.
My bad. And then you get 3
nobody's ever seen that.
No one's ever seen them. Hence this entire conversation, so that's fine. Everyone's a part of that.
And then you get...
They
3 castigators, and I'd rather be sick than build them. So
why are they not easy to build?
No, they're just rubbish. Just rubbish.
Okay, all right. So it's a weird box, and a Lord Veritant. You also get a Lord Veritant with it as well, who is Brex Black Watch. They're not very inspiring boxes, for me personally, but we'll see. Anyway.
I think the worst thing for me looking at them is I feel like they've been aimed at people who already play the game rather than because I think so, because if I went into if anyone in the chat, there's a fair few people in the chat this evening, if you went into a chat and someone was like, oh, do you want to get into Age of Sigmar, do you want 3 chariots, do you want
3
1
chariots is a
bloke
big
and
yes.
2 sharks, still not, nowhere near an army. And then the other 2, so the Stormcast one, I think on paper actually looks like it would be a starter set until you realise it's rubbish. And then the Elf one, depending on the rules, actually could be a good box set. But I think I don't know. I can't understand how those first 2, so 3 chariots are an Achillean King and 2 sharks,
which is a cool box. It's useful.
Yeah. But
Like-
I don't understand how that gets, like, how does that get new people into the hobby?
I don't think it's meant to, is it? I think you're right. I think it's just targeted at us. I think, yeah, they're army expansions, not starters. I agree with that. Absolutely. But, like, whatever. Like, I think they're part of the story, which is fun because we might see 4 boxes like this, or maybe 4 or 5 boxes or whatever, for each one of these books releases, which is really fun.
So there are actually savings if you buy the boxes then.
Yeah.
I think that there is, at least on the Chariot one.
Well, that's cool. Because I mean, even if you're not a newbie, like a new guy, or you're not somebody that's already heavily invested in Slaves to Darkness, but then you're thinking, well, I've got a Nurgle demon army, I could buy the chariots, and then it could be like a contingent that I can use, and then maybe use that to start off going that way.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, or maybe you just want to ally something in, or maybe you just want to collect the models. So
yeah.
It's all right.
The shock. Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
so then
they're about to make chariots great again.
Well, I think that. So yeah. So let's talk about that. So now today we found out some of the stuff that. So it goes on pre-order this weekend. This Morathi book.
Okay.
Just for everyone to be aware, which probably means Man Who Reads Book and Men Who Read Book shall have read book this weekend. Which means by next Monday we should be able to do a review on it, which is an exciting time. So we're only a week away from being able to like break out these crunchy rules. So let's talk about the crunchy stuff. So they put up a list of contents today from the Broken Realms book, and there's some fun stuff in there. Specific, like, because it's obviously like there's going to be like Wrath of the Everchosen, there's going to be lots of story, and there's going to be some match play rules in the back, and some of those really do. So spoiler alert for everyone, because some of them are like pretty on the nose. So like Act 1 is the blood of Cain, and then there's blah 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 blah. But Act 2, Rise of a Goddess. So previously, if you don't know, Morathi had a baby little Morathi, and she could turn into her like big snake form. She always wanted to be a goddess, but she wasn't technically a goddess.
Yeah.
So the Rise of a Goddess does really make us think that she is gonna get like a goddess form,
Or
and
somebody pips her to the post, and she has to watch somebody else become a goddess.
yeah.
The mega boss. Mega boss.
That's the twist in the story.
No,
Or
we
the,
know who it
troll
is.
princess.
Exactly, James. So she like just as she's about to pour like the blood on her that turns her into like a goddess, the Trogoth hag knocks her out the way, and the Dank Dame pours it all over herself, and she ascends to what she truly is, the goddess of our hearts.
If someone makes that conversion of the troll hag on a Morathi snake body, I will buy them a beer. Or a equivalent soft drink.
What if you just had like the snake body lead into like you just like put it in the back? It was just kind of like that works, I think. They fuse it to Trogathi. Nice. Big love for that Idiot's Night. Trogathi is my new favourite thing. Anyway, so then
Gash won't be able to turn that down, will he?
No, he did previously turn Morathi down, but he will not be able to turn down Trogathi.
No.
Who...
Seduced out of his bones.
Could have been a trog in life. We don't know.
True. Also, Battlechode says M. Night Shyamalan twist, and Netta steals the juice and ascends to goddess.
How many minuses do you think a Netta god would make you to hit?
A lot. See, what we never hear about in the narrative is the net makers. Like, I get that there are lots of netters, but who are the net makers? That's what I want to like. That's the deep dive narrative that I want. Which reminds me, actually, good point, James. Before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, we're going to take a small break because James has got something to do right now.
Yeah.
What happened last week, James?
So last week on the show, I called some people out, I believe.
You did?
I think was what I did, wasn't it? So I asked some people to write us some fan fiction.
And what did you ask them to write fan fiction about?
Did we specifically ask for what I got? We asked for mating rituals, I believe. And
Of?
so I have
Right.
the mating ritual of Nathan. Someone's
What?
right. No, it's not. So I have the mating rituals of Trogoths. Can we remember who it was by? Should we?
I think I sent it to you. If you don't
I
remember.
have it, but I can't remember who it was by.
Okay, well, special thanks to them.
Okay, special thanks to them. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm. Please do.
So if everyone isn't sat down, I suggest you sit down and maybe get a beer.
Park
The
your
mate-
car.
The mating rituals of Trogoths are as disturbing as they are beautiful in their own way. This is the first ever recorded history of the mating habits of Trogoths. Most documenters who have attempted this have been caught and eaten, underestimating the Trogoths. The mating ritual starts with a trog herd, led out of their trog holes by the alpha, Dankhold trog boss. They go out in search of the most shiny objects and tastiest of foods. Once the trog boss and his followers have gathered enough of the herd, they return back to their trog holes, descending back deep into their dankholds. The trog boss will then present the spoils of their wanderings to the Trogoth Dank Dame or Trogoth Princess, take your pick, as they are also known. At this pivotal moment, she either rejects or accepts the offering of the herd. If rejected, he will receive a mighty slap, as she is worth more than the measly sum brought to her. If she accepts the gifts, however, the pair will go down deeper into the dankhold. This is where it gets juicy.
Oh my god! Please continue. Yeah.
Soon after their mating grunts can be heard, even above ground, while the male uses his unwieldy ether pendulum to impregnate the dame.
Wait, no, go back. Okay, when?
The crushing grip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. These mating cries are so terrifying and loud. 99% of all creatures in the mortal realms will evacuate a vast area around the dankhold. Many of the other Trogoths will stuff their ears with mushrooms to drown out the grunting of their lovemaking. The only creatures drawn to the sound being made are demons of Slaanesh, who revel in the ungutulating moans of disturbing pleasure.
Is that it?
Once the mating is complete, the cries will quiet, and the trog boss and Dank Dame will cuddle as he feeds her the food he has brought to her. This aftercare is necessary, as if not given, the Dank Dame will take great offence and kill the ungrateful trog boss. After many months, the Dank Dame will give birth. These babies will most commonly be rotguts or river Trogoths, with the Dankhold Trogoth being born on a rare occasion, yet even less often she will give birth to a new baby Dank Dame. It is the Dankhold Trogboss's responsibility to raise and provide for these youngsters, as the Dank Dame will often leave for vast periods of time in search of ingredients for her magics, only taking baby Dank Dames with her to raise and teach them the way of the Dank Dame. And with that, join us next week where we explore the mating rituals of corn Korgoraths. Are their mating rituals truly as bloody as the myths say?
Well done. Can we just get some love in the chat? Also, please do subscribe to the Honest Wargamer. If you don't, we can't produce quality like this. So
Thanks to whoever wrote that for me, because that was great.
Yeah, whoever wrote that. If someone would like to read one out, write one for Nathan to read out next week, we promise. Mating Rituals of the Mortal Realms will be a continuing segment. Unsubscribe for that, Serious Meatballs. Battle Chode said perfect. So there's a lot. Smorgan in the chat, love, and we only dropped about 40 viewers. So I think we nailed it. which is exactly what we wanted, James. Well done. Better than Blue Planet, I agree. All right, so going back to what was in the Mortal Realm, the Morathi book. So talking about the chapters, the important part here is the Broken Realms. So there are campaign rules, Realms of Battle, Realm of Battle, which is Hellaflux, which is in Uglu. There's another place, Charwin Coast, Valley of Ash. There's a battle plan called Hagnal Bay. There's the Inner Chamber. There's the Undertunnels. But the one that's important, if you are narratively inclined, is the battle plan, The Fall of Anvilgard.
Not Anvilgard.
Will we be seeing an actual destruction of a city? Which would be, pretty wild. If they just, decide to blow up a city. I think that would be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Nate, you got any thoughts on that?
Well, it just sounds like pretty scary times for the Anvilgard players. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting, though. Yeah. Proper good. Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to reading this, because I feel like the Wrath of the Everchosen was like a proto version of that. And if you go back and listen to the review, I said I loved it, thought it was excellent, thought it was a great book, and I think they did pick the right one. That's a good point. Would you need to rip the pages out of the Cities book? That's a great question. I don't know if that's the case. All three of us Anvilgar players can't wait, says Grenaldi. He's really excited. Right, so that's the narrative, but it does sound like they're moving the narrative quite significantly, which is cool. And then there are some Battle Tome updates. So now we get into the crunch, the actual rules. This is so there are 4 pages of Battle Tome updates. Now, now that could be... No, this isn't even talking about the individual city stuff. This is just Battle Tome updates. So this could be stuff that they haven't alluded to. We don't know what's in there. There's 4 pages of something, but we don't know what it is. And that's quite exciting. So it could be all manner of things. It could be War Scroll updates. It could be Allegiance updates. It could be a bunch of different stuff. So that's pretty important. And then we get onto the other stuff. So Daughters of Cain have got Zanith Kai, Viperic Guard, Scath Coven, Shrine Brood, Morathi Cain, this is the important part, and the Shadow Queen. Morathi Cain and the Shadow Queen are on 2 separate pages, which means we're going to get Baby Morathi with a bunch of rules and Big Morathi with a bunch of rules. Potentially you're able to play both on the same table.
Yeah, didn't they leak? They leaked something that said you could play both at the same time, right?
No, I don't think they leaked it.
I think they did mention it in the write-up on the community site, the first one.
Oh,
the very first one that they did. They say potentially rules where you could have Big and Little Morathi on the same table at the same time.
So that's good, right?
Yeah, that's exciting.
Well, I mean, is it good?
I think that small model's amazing and never really got seen very often.
Yeah, you don't see it often, do you?
Well, I think one of the things that I'm a little bit upset about, and I did talk about this, is I really like the Iron Heart of Cain rule, like Morathi's ability to only take 3 wounds. I thought it was rad. Yep. I thought it was fun. It's frustrating as well, and having been on the receiving end of it a couple of times, it has been frustrating. But I also think it's a fun game mechanic in the design space. So having them on separate, maybe just being able to use both is cool. Maybe they'll keep it, maybe they won't keep it. Have you got any thoughts on that? Twitch chat, you guys, anything?
I love that rule, but I think it'll be interesting. So I'm not sure in my head, and this is wild speculation, so no one quote me on it, but I almost feel like there might be almost like a Daughters of Cain sub-faction within that book that allows you to use both. Yeah. So
there aren't. So we know that there is the Xanthin Kai, and the but then I think we've got 3 War Scroll battalions. So Xanthin Kai is whatever it might be, the sub-faction, and then there's the Scath Coven and the Shrine Brood. So I think that there's some sub-factions and there's some War Scroll battalions, which is really, really fun. Nathan, you got any thoughts about Ironheart of Cain going away?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking maybe that faction change is what allows you to have both Morathis on the board, so it might change her rules, but maybe not. maybe it just completely overly supersedes the Daughters of Cain book entirely. I guess it's hard to. I don't know. I wouldn't want to see that rule go because I like it, but
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I think the rule's okay in the game. It's like you say, it's a very unique rule and presents a load of different problems when you play against it. But yeah, it looks like, I mean, who knows? It could be going, it could be staying. And yeah, if it goes, I'm sure they'll make up for it with some other thing and it'll probably be less exciting. But yeah, the game changes all the time anyway. So yeah, there's just going to be something else that we have to get around, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So that's Daughters of Cain, which, like, as a faction competitively, have never really gone away. They've always operated like, I don't think they've ever dropped below like 56, 57% win rate, roughly. And at one point they were riding like a 70, 75% win rate. So they've always been particularly strong. Big question as to how they'd fit into the shooting meta of now. But
Yeah.
ultimately, like, you know, they've got some strength. And here, like, you're going to have to work really hard in the design space to change how you are going to approach this army, because if it doesn't have Hagnar like level power, it's not going to take it, right? So it has to have. You sometimes see people play Calibron as opposed to Hagnar because Calibron's got the teleport, but you really like are choosing between the two. So it really needs to add some like utility choices which are different to like that power and survivability that you get. And again, we're not sure what's in those Battletome updates rules, so maybe they'll change some of those rules as well. Yeah, there are some new temples. But you're still fighting to be not Hagnar, right? So it's got to be as good or better. And if it's better than Hagnar, it's pretty scary.
Yeah,
because Hagnar's pretty good.
I guess the debate is, isn't it? Like, at some point, do these books, because we don't really know, do we know if these books are going to write off Battletomes, or do they just add to?
They add to. Very much.
Okay.
If you think about Wrath of the Everchosen, they add to. And in some cases, they're going to change War Scrolls, because they've talked about that a little bit. But there's no cases, like Marathi and the Shadow Queen separate War Scrolls will be new War Scroll updates. So, your old book will be less relevant. But yeah, Jen, Smalling in the chat says, I'm so hard for this book. He's like got some big love for it. Hopefully Hagnar level, they add to. They won't write off. It would be a horrible design choice. Yeah, they add to, which is fun, because when we talk about Cities of Sigmar, which is another thing that we're seeing in this book, there's free cities battle traits. Yeah,
Ooh.
so maybe they're going to be changing. Maybe there's a free cities set of battle traits, which is going to be different. Maybe build your own city battle traits.
Or maybe there's new battle traits for is it Tempest Eye that's getting blown up?
No, Anvilgard.
Anvilgard. There'll be new rules for Anvilgard because they're now living in tents away from the town.
The refugee battle traits. Yeah. Okay. Nice. I hope that they do custom cities. So the free cities battle traits, I hope, is design your own city, is what I hope for in there. And then they've got Kraith's Shadow Host, which is definitely a War Scroll battalion. And then they've got Misthaven, and Har-Kuron, which are two cities that we're going to discover in this book. So Misthaven and Har-Kuron. Har-Kuron definitely is going to be Daughters of Cain themed, which means probably you can have a cities army. Check this out. But you can have Daughters of Cain allies, which that's pretty dope. Nathan, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that'll be quite cool. So the obviously the Daughters War Scrolls are pretty sweet without the allegiance abilities, but the allegiance abilities are good, the Daughters of Cain ones. But if you can use those rule sets with some of the cities' allegiance abilities, I think they'll change up armies quite interesting. So be interesting to see which ones they can ally with, or if it's only this free city Harkon, it's just a way of being able to play those models with different different themes. It's like playing the Caradron, some of the Caradron into Tempest Eye, I think you play it differently than how you would play a normal Caradron, because obviously you've not got the full army, but also
Yeah.
you're getting these slightly different abilities that you get instead of you being able to use triumphs and stuff. You're using the extra moves and the extra saves and stuff like that.
I think it'd be really fun. Like we talked about, like imagine Sisters of Slaughter if they had a hurricane nearby, +1 to hits, pretty scary. Some shooting support for daughters. So Lou Diamond's in the chat. Big love to AOS Tim. I see him, by the way, has just said maybe that it's actually just going to be Dark Elf themed and not Daughters of Cain themed. So it's going to be more the Scourge Privateers and that sort of element.
Oh yeah.
So we could be wrong on that front. That we could be wrong. And then the other one, I want to get to that because Halalex has made a good point. I just want to say a big shout out to Semp the Great, who's just said on YouTube, and by the way, thanks a ton for the hobby motivation stream we did last week. Made me finish 20-something Saurus Warriors and I haven't stopped painting since. Everyone should watch that. So I appreciate that. That's good. I hope that was fun. Sister Slaughter in Tempest Eye with Aura of Glory is 5 attacks per model. Good shout. So the other stuff, so that's Harkuron. Maybe it's Daughters of Cain, maybe it's the other ones. I feel like it would be Daughters of Cain, but maybe it's not. Misthaven, though, it was Halalex in the chat was saying Misthaven literally means Mist Harbor, so suits Ideneth. So we might get maybe Misthaven is what happens when they destroy Anvilgard, and it becomes Misthaven, and then you end up with a city's Ideneth city, which would be cool.
Which is also terrifying, because that means eels can ally into cities. Can you imagine that? Here's my front line of... how would that work, though? Maybe it goes the other way. Who knows? Terrifying. Eels everywhere.
Terrifying. Also, can I just say that I love this whole thing because it seems... Because all the battles are happening around like cities and places. And they're like really exploring the world more, which I'm fun for. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
So that's the Cities of Sigmar. You two in Twitch chat got anything more about this you want to talk about? You like it?
I think like you said, I'm just gonna jump on that bandwagon. I think it's exciting to start to almost getting back to that point where we might be able to see like a map, isn't it? And I know obviously it's a bunch of realms, but like when they released that Hammerhall box set, like the board game one, there was like some cool maps and structure and districts and all that sort of stuff. I think it'd be cool to almost have, like a map of the world and be like, oh, you're playing a game and you're playing in, like the Realm of Fire. Oh, this is kind of what we know what bits of it look like. It'd be exciting to see again, I think. For me, anyway.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so let's move on then. So the Cities of Sigmar, really fun. Everyone's like, have they done that before in the AOS where they've blown up a bit of the narrative? Not really, although yes, also, because there's been places that they haven't destroyed anywhere that was definitely a place. Hold on, I'm being confusing now. So if they destroyed Anvilgard, then that would be something probably fairly new. But they have done stuff where the All Points, for instance, has been attacked in Wrath of the Overchosen by a lot of the Realm of Death, so like Bone Reapers and Nighthorn, and they have got a foothold now. And so one of the All Points, big shout out to the party of the All Points, in the centre has had like a part of it taken over by Death. So that is like an expansive part of narrative. Not that that was anything that had any rules involved. So they probably, they've changed a lot of the rules over the time. And we've seen stuff move around. So we'll see. So next up, Stormcast Eternals. So you've got some Stormkeep battle traits, and then so there's a page of those. You've got Wardens of the Stormkeep, Storm Tower Garrison, Stormkeep Patrol, Stormkeep Brotherhood, and Van Breck's Black Watch. Can I just say a shout out to Rouse over on YouTube for donating 20 Danish Corona, I'm going to say.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that. That's super nice of you. Thanks, bud. Big love to you. So it's 5 War Scroll battalions and basically some new Stormhost rules, which is cool. And I think what's interesting there is we did a show today where we talked about competitive AOS lists at the minute, and the shootcast list ended up taking out an event in Russia this weekend. But yeah, like some more shooting potentially coming in for that army. But just getting some nice Stormcast updates.
Yeah, be nice to take those models back off my shelf.
Agreed. Nath, you got any thoughts on this? Because you're painting some Stormcast right now.
I am, just because they're quite cool models that I found, so I'm going to do those. I think it looked like there were some special rules for storm keeps and stuff like that. So I don't know if those will just be narrative rules or actually match play rules, but it sounds interesting. Something that could possibly go across. Maybe it's just for Stormcast that are allied into cities armies, or maybe it's just something that can go across the board wherever there's Stormcast units, because they can obviously ally into any army. So maybe they can take it's like a set of allegiance abilities that they can take with them into those. But obviously this is all just guesswork, so it'd be cool to see what happens.
It is, yeah. And obviously it is all guesswork, but it's fun to talk about. Like, the thing that I like about being this side of the fence, so not working at Games Workshop, not being a playtester, any of those things, is I've got no clue. So I'm as excited as you guys. So like, we're as likely to be wrong as we are to be right, but it's fun. Like, it's fun talking about it, and I get excited about it. I can't wait for the weekend. Hammers of Anvil hammers are from Anvilgard. Will they be no more? See, like, it's fun. Like, and maybe it won't be this bold and brave as a choice, and maybe it just be. But I'm excited, and I'm excited that we might be getting, like, I think someone in the chat did the math that there's like 5 or 6 facts. There's 1, 2, 3. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 factions in this book, and I think someone worked out that if you were going to do all of the factions, it would take you about 6 books to do. So we might get 6 of these books, which 6 of these books moving the story on could be awesome. Nathan, we've got a question over on YouTube from Darren Puth. He says, Nathan, where are you from? Fucking east of the Limpopo, baby. Do you want to tell him where you're from?
Originally, born and raised in Zimbabwe. But at the moment, I am living in Leicester.
What a difference. What's interesting is Bulawayo is definitely better than Leicester.
Are you sure? I think the weather's much better in Leicester, but otherwise...
What, the Bulawayo?
Yeah, you might be right. No, I came here for the weather. Are you saying I did it the wrong way around? Fuck.
Wait, Darren says, big ups, I'm watching from Durban.
Oh, yeah. He's by the seaside. Nice. Laka.
It's weird, I don't really think about Africa having seaside, but it obviously must have fucking tons.
It's all around the edge. You'll find it there.
Rob does geography. Maybe we should have a show one week where you just do us geography lesson.
Do you know what? I don't like this because this is the second show in a row. Owen today, in some sort of like way to train me. Now when we do the event results, he's done the research for where the place is as well to to ground my knowledge in where we're talking about.
Nice.
But I've worked it out eventually.
That's great. Yeah.
That third
all
largest.
Looks the same from 40 foot.
40,000 feet, actually. We learned that Russia was big. Yeah, they have to take a 40... So from Moscow, where the event was this weekend, Icehammer, a 45-hour drive from Moscow to get to Icehammer event.
Okay.
That's how far they have to travel.
That's
or
a
4-hour
long
flight.
way.
That's a long way, right? It's big.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Definitely.
Lastly, now they've done some poor formatting on either the website or in the actual book, in that the Idneth Deepkin section in this contents book also contains the Slaves to Darkness elements as well. So they made some mistakes there. But there's some really exciting stuff for the Idneth Deepkin book, which has been such a mono build army for such a long time. It's been pretty boring for everyone, both playing and watching. So there's mount traits for both, and they've talked about this before. It's going to be for Alaplexes. No, not Alaplexes. Sorry, the Seahorse guys, whatever the Killian Kings ride. Can't remember what they're called. The seahorses, and then also the Leviathans are going to get mount traits. So the big turtles are going to get mount traits. Nathan, powerful turtles. What are your thoughts?
It's going to be great. Hopefully we're going to see some of these big turtle things flying around. I don't think I've ever played against a turtle. And I'm looking forward to seeing what turtles taste like and other types of fishes other than just eels. Yeah.
So the underground scuttlebutt for everyone at home is that like sometimes we hear things through the grapevine of the whatever this network of gamers is called, and apparently the current gossip is that the Leviathans are going to be strong as F. They are going to be pure stronks, big nuts in the room. So 4 turtles is going to be a thing apparently. So I'm pretty hyped for that. Now that's apparently, so that might change, but like
they're also pretty.
They are, yeah, and they look rad. I love the idea of like someone running like a bunch of corn hounds, a sort of corn army. James, just take it, and then but just go with it for a moment, and then he's playing a guy with 4 turtles and some other stuff, and then like someone walks by the game shop for the first time, it's like, what is happening? It's like, well, I'm going to try and get my dogs to eat all the turtles, and he's like, okay. That doesn't sound okay. That doesn't make any sense. Zirak says, I'll bring mine to the UK, Nathan, and we could play a game. Would you like to play against some turtles?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
There you go.
Bring them.
I think we've just booked Nathan a game.
Yeah. Well done. Yeah.
2023.
Good luck trying to get you at the moment.
AOS is a game about making animals fight. I agree with that, absolutely.
Don't tell Peter.
What, the Falcon? The Falcon, he'll be fine with it, I think. Anyway, so mount traits for all of those, which is good. And then we've also seen War Scroll updates. I'm very, very excited about this for the Eidolon Mathlan aspect of the sea and the aspect of the storm. So there's the combat Eidolon and there's the magic Eidolon. I'm excited for this because they're beautiful models, definitely, and it would be really fun to see them like get some like really interesting rules, not just strong rules. I just don't want a Gulking on Terrorgeist. I want interesting. They're quite unique looking. They didn't have the monster keyword previously. Like the way you think that they're a big model because of the cape, but really they're quite a small elf with a large sea cape.
Yeah, so they're really rubbish, really. They're a wet elf. I mean, hopefully they get really worse, but cheap. You can take units of 53 of them.
I would love to see someone try and fit that on a board.
I brought all these wet elves.
They're now on 25 mils.
I could petition to Twitch chat, and the Norn, I'd like to talk to you in a moment and answer that question. Petition in the Twitch chat that we now only call Idneth the Wet Elves. Like, that's their name now. We don't call them anything else, just the Wet Elves. I'll let the Twitch chat decide if that's okay. The Norn asked, what UK event should I fly over to do, and what year will that happen? I mean, I would argue Bobo and what year I am next year or the year after. But some of our events have already rescheduled, like from March all the way till they've moved from March to September. So I would do Bobo maybe 2022. Is that possible?
21? I think 2021 will probably happen. I'm going to put my money on it.
There's been some support in the chat for the initiative to call them the Wet Elves. A suggestion that we actually maybe call them the Moist Elves. Another suggestion, the Wetteneth is a...
Wetteneth the Deepkin?
Yeah, all of those works. They work quite well. Yeah, James, you did just jinx it, by the way. Could you touch wood, please? Or like throw some salt over your shoulder? Or thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so I'm looking forward to the Eidolons, personally, even though they are giant wet elves. I don't know about anyone else, but personally, I think that's going to be fun. I hope they do something really cool with it. There's the Achillean Leviathan as well, and then there's the Bloodsurf Hunt. They're also changing the War Scroll for the Alapexes as well, which is the sharks. So the Bloodsurf Hunt, which is the box you can buy, and I assume a War Scroll battalion, will include new updated Alaplex rules and also potentially a War Scroll battalion, which is really fun. The problematic part, if there's anything, is that obviously they're not doing any change unless in the Battle Tome updates on page 92 in this book they change the core mechanics of how Idoneth work. You're still basically gonna get, in my opinion, some units that always strikes first for 2 rounds, and then you're just gonna stack a command ability from the Achillean King or from Volti, and then just make it so you can just like have 1 billion attacks and fight first.
Can you imagine a ton of turtles that are now super strong, all fighting first?
I can, and I hate it as much as I hate it happening with the eels, because also in that situation, James, they have to be better than the eels for you to take them. Does that make sense?
That's the problem, isn't it? That's the problem with those War Scroll updates is if they're not changing the eel War Scroll, those other War Scrolls have to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
because it's a mono build army.
Yeah, or build like something interesting and different enough in play style to move some of those players away from eels.
Yes. And also, I guess the real question to all of us is do we actually, do we accept our new turtle overlords? Like, if it just means we don't have to see eels anymore, are we just happy being smashed by turtles? Nathan,
Yes.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, turtles are great. Let's eat turtles.
Well, no, I think this is more of a problem as they might be eating us.
Yeah, the turtles are eating you, Nathan.
Yeah. No, we'll smash them up. It's fine.
Crazy 8 says, I'm a child of the 80s, I'm down with turtle power. I agree with that. And Sorry Again says, better or wetter. That's what they're going to be.
That can be the review next week.
Better or wetter.
There's
But
your,
don't worry, I'll catch them with my netter, and then it will be fine.
When do you get poetry on any other show? Well done, Dave. Yeah.
That should be the show name next week. Better
or wetter.
Catching eel, whatever the fuck, turtles.
Who your netters?
Yeah, they're going to catch them loads of turtles and sharks. It looks like sushi is back on the menu.
I really want a Kraken Eater, Mega Gargant, versus one of these souped up turtles and see who wins. Yeah. Okay. So I think someone in the chat had a more adroit point than most of what the chat say. But listen,
adroit point.
Yeah.
Screwed if we got those.
My friend has them, so hopefully I make them better, but not stupid, because he tends to get stupid. It sounds fishy to me, says K-Dread. Also, big love, K-Dread. I hope you're well. No, I think it was basically the idea is someone said that you don't have to necessarily make them better than eels for them to fit, and that would be nice if they have some sort of utility. But the problem with the Idoneth book is that you can't ignore the strength of being able to always strike first over 2 battle rounds for your whole army. It's such an integral element of the game that it's very much like KO, that they have a difficult design space for themselves, Games Workshop. So if they don't change the core mechanics of how their allegiance abilities work, specifically the tides, I can't see how you wouldn't end up playing them that way.
Imagine if they give them just strike first for their turn on turn 3.
Oh, 1,000 fish boys would be so sad. And
Someone's burning an army.
You can't burn it; it'd be too wet. Right, and then they've accidentally included in here the Idolaters, which we think is a sub-faction that we're going to get for Slaves to Darkness, and also Gresh's Iron Reapers, which is War Scroll Battalion, which I'm hoping is just going to be lots and lots of chariots, which would be really fun. I'm hoping you can already get Chariot Battle Line, so I'd like to see Chariot Battle Line again, and that War Scroll Battalion. I'd like it to just be able to be a Slaves to Darkness one that then obviously you can give them all a mark, so you could potentially put them in a Khorne army or a Nurgle army, so that would be super fun and cool, or in a Slanesh force. So yeah, I'd like that. That'd be fun. I'm excited about that. James, you obviously collect Slaves to Darkness. You got any thoughts about a bunch of chariots?
I think I mean, it depends how tactical you want me to get, I guess. But I think chariots generally can be really useful. Their base size is useful. And I do think I said earlier, those chariots are cool. I think that those, and maybe it's because I'm my age, but those old school Chaos Knight, Chaos Warrior looking units are old school Warhammer Fantasy cool, aren't they? They're old school high fantasy. And I'd love to see some of those Gore Beast chariots on a table, whether they're mine or not. Like, if I get beat by an army of only Gore Beast chariots, I will have a great day. I love them.
Yeah, I agree. Amelgar does have a 14 chariot build. I agree with that. Nathan, you got any thoughts about the chariot build?
No, I mean, it's just cool. We just see some different things. I mean, yeah, it's cool. It'll be another. The lists that are based around just a single unit, like a spam type list. Some people really like them. It's not the style I prefer, but it's cool when you see them. It is cool to see them. Even like we take the piss out of the eels list, but it does look sweet when it's on the table and there's loads of them. But it's not everybody's cup of tea. I like a list with a bit more variety of units, and yeah. But
don't you just like a list with as many netters as possible?
No, I like a few Gobbapaloozas in there and stuff like that too. So yeah.
I actually heard the Gobbapaloozas are immortal. I don't know if you've seen. Big shout out to JP and his achievement site. I don't know if you saw this, Nathan. It is another website, so probably not.
No.
so JP has created this cool website. I will link it. I'll send it to you later, and I'll try and include it in the show notes.
We talked about it last week.
Yeah, you did. Where you can like if it's a bit like fuck, what's his name?
It's the Friends thing, isn't it?
No, not him. No, Bone Splitters. Bone Splitter guy.
Yeah.
Fuck, come on.
Ian Spink,
legend that is. It's a bit like Ian Spink's, where he because he played Bone Splitters all the time. You guys might not be aware of this. He made himself a list of all the monsters. Narrative for the Bone Splitters is that they hunt monsters. He made a list of every monster in the game, and at tournaments had to hunt each one. Couldn't do it in casual games. Had to like play them at tournaments. So like he would turn up and be like, "Oh baby, there's a corn dragon here," and then like in the field of 100 people, would try and somehow like organise to get matched up against it. And he did quite well. But like JP has created like an achievements thing on his website, and again I'll try and send you the link. But what's cool about it is that there's like defeat Marathi, that's an achievement. Defeat Nagash, that's an achievement. One of them is defeat the Gobbapalooza, Nathan, but it's an unachievable one because they can't be defeated.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, I thought you'd appreciate that at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's, there we go.
It's true. Come on.
It's true.
It's true. Then there's also pitch battle profiles also is included in this book as well. So it does look like we're going to see some points for all of these things. So maybe the turtles would come down points. The Eidolons might come down points or come up points, depending on like how much they've buffed them. We'll get new points for Marathi, new points for some of the Stormcast units. Not the units, the battalions, but maybe units as well. And some of the other War Squad battalions. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff like here in this book, and it feels like it's pretty good value. A bunch of cool story moving this narrative on, and even if you don't collect these armies, a fun set of like cool rules. Personally, I've got nothing negative here to say. I'm excited.
No, sounds good. So the stories in like the book, this Marathi book, they're also going to be linked to the little stories that we're starting to get through for the Broken Realms. Is it the same sort of thing? Yeah.
Well, this is the title is Broken Realms Marathi. So this is part of the Broken Realms series. And the first the first 2 pages, there's the Dramatis Personae, which is fun. And then there's also there's the Fractured Empires, is another couple of pages of narrative that's in this book. So it looks like, and because each one of the factions really have their own kind of like cities and like they have their home bases, don't they? So it might be moving into a kind of like more war-torn sort of setup, because we, just to catch everyone up, if anyone's interested, obviously you had the golden times where everything was great and like very, very lovely and salubrious, and then chaos came, destroyed everything, and then humanity was on the brink of destruction and disaster, and then you had the age of Sigmar, specifically the Age of Sigmar, and then Sigmar came down, liberated some areas, they started to build some cities again. There was some normality, but there also wasn't some normality. Like, what was once the realm of life was all lovely, and now it's been invaded by Nurgle. So as much as the forces of life push them back, there still is some, like, Nurgle strongholds and whatnot, and there's Tzeentchian strongholds in the realm of metal. There's Sinesh warbands rampaging around the realm of Shadow and all those other things. So there's lots and lots of narrative. So, but that's kind of where we've been in situ. And then we had the Soul Wars, where souls became this huge currency. Nagash wanted everyone's souls. He launched his campaign to take over the world, or all the realms, sorry, which was what we got from the Soul Worlds. So that was Age of Sigmar 3. And then we've kind of gone through, the discovery of the what are they called? The pits where all the treasures are in.
Oh yeah,
the Shay, where the Shay glass and stuff is.
No, that was separate.
Yeah, the breaking of the whatever the fuck they were. Yeah.
I was on such a roll then.
Yeah.
The Storm Vaults. Thank you, Lou
That's
Diamonds.
the
Storm Vaults. So we had all these treasures announced, and obviously the endless spells and all the necrotic magic because of Nagash's big spell. And now it looks like we're getting into this kind of like fracturing of what was like these city states, and maybe even these alliances are going to get broken up and moved around. So and that's all happened in like 3 or 4 years. Like, I know, like, the Age of Sigmar narrative started, like, 5 years ago, but we're just not counting the first year. It's pretty rubbish. We're just going to ignore that first year of stuff.
That first year was its first day.
Huh?
It's my first day. There we go. That's all it was. Someone will get the reference.
All right, yeah. So that's everything. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I don't think, like we've talked about before, I think that this probably will be better done than Psychic Awakening, which is exciting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We like a good story.
Yeah. I think it's good, and I think it helps inform the game more, which is exciting. And it looks like there's a lot of rules in there as well. Maybe most of them will be guff. Maybe they won't be, but it'll be. It's fun. I think at least, and go on, James.
I was just going to say, if I'm completely honest, I think I've seen the stuff. The one thing I really still don't understand even now is why Games Workshop, every time they release something new, make a new website. Boggles my mind.
Microsites, maybe.
To fuck me over, bastards.
It just confuses me. It's like, just make one website, just use it. It's great.
Exactly.
However, I think realistically for the whole 2 weeks or whatever we've been seeing teasers about this, I've been like, oh, it's kind of okay. Oh yeah, I'm sure it'll be cool. I probably won't buy it. And sat here now tonight, and we've talked about it, and the chat's talked about it, and I guess I've been painting too. That helps kind of get me on hobby mind. But I'm like, I'm gonna buy that Saturday. Saturday, 10 o'clock or whenever. I'm buying that. And then next week I can sit and read it. And I'm really excited now, I think.
Good. Well, I mean, that's not really been yeah. I mean, whatever. I'm excited. Is there a way now for things to be tracked in time in the Mortal Realms, so they just guess based on coffee or something? Says it is what now? There's they're always a bit shy with actual dates and when stuff, and I think at one point they maybe even alluded to time moving differently in different realms. It's a bit all over the shop, but it's a bit like history, right? And again, I'm gonna I feel like sometimes I'm being serious for a second. I feel like sometimes they write it from this perspective of it happened as opposed to it is happening. There was this moment where this big battle happened, and you're like, cool. The battle of when we defeated Napoleon. Waterloo was 1814? 1810? Around there. But I know it's about then, roughly. That sort of scenario or time. And it's a bit like that. You pick out this point where this stuff happened, and then everything else kind of bleeds into the background, because maybe that was the same time when the Industrial Revolution was kicking off, or fuck knows, whatever, 1815. So there you go. Even though I was close, not too bad. But like, I sometimes feel like that, like the stories are told not quite like, and then in 2 years' time there was another war. You know, like there's more. Maybe that's a bad example. Oh, Sean Catewell says, "Oh, Rob, my man crush." Thanks, Sean. You're now my man crush. Let's go. Yeah. So it's more like a disconnect between parallel lines. Okay, cool though. Yeah, I think it's more sporadic. It's more like pinpoints of like drama around, which I think is actually really good because it ends up you can create your own narrative inside of it as well. Like it's not super restrictive.
It like as well. I think one of the like for me, I think so. Like if you know, like if you read what books did I read actually that were really good? There's the witch. Is it a witch hunter and an elf rocking around together? I can't think what the books are, but like those are good and like time matters and they almost talk about like days and nights and weeks and whatever. But actually, if you're Marathi and you're a god and you're not like the end times didn't kill you,
Goddess.
like why does it matter that it's Tuesday? Do you know what I mean? Like you're a Lariel, you like make things out of the ground. You should be free in the game, but you're not. Tuesday doesn't matter. It's like lockdown. Days don't matter.
All right, so I think that's a good point. So I to finish the show off, because there's a couple of like quality of life announcements I'd like to make to you guys, but also importantly, with this being said, what updates would you guys like to see in coming books, and what storylines would you like to see explored? I obviously would like to see the rise and dominance of the Trogoth Hag becoming the Trogoth Goddess.
Yep.
That's an obvious one.
Trogathi or whatever we were on earlier.
Trogathi, yeah.
So what you're asking? What the which things we want to see reaching godhood?
Well, no more. Just like what stories would you like to see expanded, or like what updates? Like if everything got that's a good one. If everything got an update, the chat have got some suggestions already. For instance, the God-apalooza.
The God-apalooza. I was gonna say the God-apalooza, but that's even better. The God-apalooza, yeah.
Yeah,
sweet.
Sweet.
Hail the God-apalooza.
Yeah, exactly. Whether each individual gods, I think, would be good. A three Doomwheel battalion. Lou Diamonds wants to see Manfred. Got better. Give me Soulblight or give me Death. So some updates there. Core needs something. Such great models, they deserve it. James, thoughts?
No comment. I'm going to be good. I'm not going to moan, because if Owen's in the chat, he'll only tell me off.
Nighthaunt actually having something decent, not just Forgotten Souls, says Speckles. Good point. Sylvaneth book better would just be a new tome. Yes, so some Sylvaneth updates would be phenomenal. I really would like to see some Sylvaneth updates. I'd also like to see like Alariel's kind of narrative pushed on as well, because there's like a big push on this Marathi front. So it would be nice to see some Alariel like front cover stuff as well, or maybe even like Nighthaunt's a good example. Lady Alinda. Like, they had a good run in the Wrath of the Everchosen book. I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of Nighthaunt stuff done. I wouldn't mind, like, a creepy tale of, like, a guy out there on his black coach just trying to deliver one more coffin before he's too old for this shit. James, you got anything you'd like to see?
I think for me, like, I'd like to see, like, I think one of the other issues I have with maybe Age of Sigmar narrative as well is like you see the same races over and over again. And I know someone put like some Beasts of Chaos love, but actually I think if I forget like rules and whatever, it'd be cool to know what's going on. Like Beasts of Chaos, like by their rules, like appear, don't they? They travel with a stone. Like what are they doing? Like how are they roaming from realm to realm and just like getting through a gate? Like it'd be cool to know like what are they doing? Why are they doing it? Almost like some of those factions that we don't hear as much of.
Yeah, some point of view stuff from those factions. And yeah, I mean, as a Gits player, I'd like to see the point of view a bit more of some of the Git stuff. So, yeah, for instance, we had that Gits novel, supposedly, but it was all really from the point of view of the cities the
Jerks.
people, which was made for a nice enough story, but it would be cool if we had some proper narrative from the point of view of some of the Gits and some of the beasts of chaos dudes and
Yeah, I
stuff
think
like that.
like almost like, isn't it? Like in the old world, you used to have that kind of cool thing, didn't you? Where like Gits lived in like little caves in the ground or forests or whatever, and like hid around, and then only really fought when they wanted something or were robbing something, or like what are they doing? Why are they fighting Stormcast? Like what's going through their head? That's what I want to know, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if we look at the fact that there's been cities updates, like that's actually a fairly new book. Like I know it's the most over there, but like Beast of Chaos, like that definitely needs some love. And I would like to see more, like some actual sub-factions of Beast of Chaos would be like baller, like on the same level that everything else got some love as well. I think that would be really, really, really good. I'd like to see some Sylvaneth updates. I'd like to see the Beast of Chaos narrative as well, like be a bit more like realized. I think that would be good. Absolutely. Nighthorn, I know I've said that previously. The gods I'm not too stressed about, like in any way, shape, or form. Like I think Slaanesh is due a big new release. We're going to see a bunch of new Slaanesh stuff, so I think that story's keeping on. Slaanesh has actually been like a pretty major focus of the Age of Sigmar narrative for the past few years. Obviously, been trapped between the Realm of Light and the Realm of Dark.
You don't want to know what Sigmar's up to.
Well, no, I want them to. I wouldn't mind seeing some like dispossessed stuff. Like, well, we've also got some like good KO narrative. Like sometimes they like hyper focus on some stuff, and I wouldn't mind like seeing some of the like less like conversed like about stuff. Like More Tribes is also one that I think they got some really good narrative in their book, but I would like to see some more Tribe stuff generally out there. Like some man-eaters who are doing some mercenary work, or something. I think that would be fun. And then seeing a bit of narrative for Flesh Eater Corpse could also be cool. That's definitely true. That would be
maybe some Gargant narratives, just so I can understand why a Gargant's like allying with a city of Sigmar, and also why a city is hiring a random giant. Oh, he looks cool. He's got a gimp mask on. I'll hire him. He'll fight well.
I don't think you hire the Gatebreaker, do you? Don't you hire the Kraken Eater?
Oh, I don't know.
Your order, yeah. A question: why not build a giant lava pit in front of a realm gate so you can't be invaded? It's a great question. Unfortunately, as some of you may or may not know, the Realm of Fire is actually mainly made of only volcanoes. So quite a lot of creatures can just walk on lava. But it's a great question.
Also, it's not Warcry, so you can't kick anyone in it, because you can do that now.
You can kick someone into lava.
Yeah, that's the best bit about the new game.
Sounds great.
Why don't you lava him alone? Oh, didn't work. Let's try. That wasn't so good. Hearing something from Grungy would be good. Yeah. That would be the Smith god, the god of the Smith.
The lost god of the dispossessed. Be good to try and find that fucker and see what he's been up to.
Maybe he's been building something really pretty.
That's what I'm saying. What if he's been building a new, like, mechanical dispossessed force?
What, Caradron?
No, mechanical, like, like clockwork, dispossessed.
Stormcast.
No, also not them. Like, kind of like all of those things, but also a bit different enough that
he was in the gods bit, right? Wasn't he didn't he help make the stuff that helps Sigmar make the Stormcast?
He helped,
and then he disappeared.
And then he fucked off.
He built the Anvil of Apotheosis, didn't he?
Yeah. We want him. Yeah, he's probably just become a brewer, so we want him and all of his junk mates come back.
Wait, you think somewhere in the mortal realms is a pub full of dwarves who should be trying to fight the evil and chaos, but instead are half cut?
Yeah, that's it.
I like the idea they're all having a beer and they're like, deal with that tomorrow. We don't know what day it is anyway. Time don't matter here.
Yeah, exactly. It's not really that bad just yet. We'll sort it out when we've had this beer.
Apparently, Grungy was in the Spear of Shadows, and he unmade a Chaos Demon. Did not know that. Crazy says he's been building Chaos Stormcast Dreadnoughts, and I believe Waterfalter Thanks for donating £2.29 to the show. Big thumbs up to you, baby. It's really nice of you. That's nice of all of you to subscribe and be a part of the show.
Cool.
It's very nice. All right, well, I think that's us done for the day. Not to be bores, because...
we have one more update.
Oh, yes. We do
There has
have
been
an update.
this week's... I don't know who's left in the chat, but there has been some update. And soon, I'm hoping, if people want to poke John Scrivens with a stick on Twitter, there might soon be an update on Undergargants.
Undergargants.
Undergargants. Could you remind everyone of what the Undergargants project is?
Underwear that is show themed.
Yeah.
That's as far as we've got.
And when the
Specifically... Go on, Nate, sorry.
I was going to say, if once the Undergargants are done, are we going to also have some netters for the lady ones?
I'll just buy some fish nets and sell them as nets.
Yeah, exactly. Netters.
Stick a sticker of Rob's face
Minus
on
one
every
to
pack.
hit. Job done.
I really want some underwear that gives me -1 to hit. Honest Wargamer branded assless chaps. So basically, the Undergargants are, if you guys have listened, Nathan loves giants, and he quite like putting things in his pants, or in the giants' pants specifically, which meant you end up... we talked about it a lot, and then Dan will be very excited about the fact that James, who's our merch guy, so if you've ever bought any of the Honest Wargamer objective markers, or a t-shirt, or dice, or any of those other things, that's all James's bag, man. And then we challenged him to make underwear, show-themed underwear, and it feels like it's happening. It's happening.
There.
Is any suggestions of what you guys would like printed on your Undergargants? That's the real question. Personally, I'd just like 2 of Nathan's heads.
Yeah, the current debate was we were just going to put Nathan's face on everything because we think it'll sell better.
Honestly,
And
if you just put Nathan's face on all the products, they sell way better.
And I
than my
also
face.
like the idea that Nathan's then got to turn up to events and everyone's going to be getting their pants down and be like, "Hey, Nathan! Nathan!" That's my other favourite part of that issue.
Yeah.
A Gargant head with a quote, "That's a big 'un." Or Nathan's head with "That's a big 'un." Are these underwear or overwear? Great question. I haven't often worn my pants over anything. I think they're... James, are they underwear or overwear?
Underwear is the idea.
Okay.
But if you want to wear them over, I mean, or just them on their own, maybe we'll make them good enough that you can just leave the house in undergargants.
I think Knigget, who does excellent memes all the time, has... I think he's nailed it. I think it's a picture of Nathan's face with just an air bubble quote which says, "Stuff 'em in me pants."
Yeah, maybe.
That's the one. Do they double as a comfy hat? Potentially. First person to win a wooden spoon at a tournament while wearing undergargants has to get spanked with the spoon.
By Nathan.
By Nathan.
Sounds fair, yeah.
Underwear that is signed from the inside only, so you can only see it if you get stuffed in the pants.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and also Lou Diamond says the double XL version can be the under mega gargants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Someone's asked if we can make Honest Wargamer hot pants, but probably not because that's all Rob will wear and no one needs to see it.
Oh my god, I would wear those all the time. That would be so sweet. Mamdare would be really into that. Yeah, I'm down. All right, well, do keep an eye on our socials for when exactly the Undergargants will be released unto the world. Probably the hottest Age of Sigmar Christmas buy coming out. You know, for your friends, your family, your loved ones, your kids. I would like to buy. I would like it if we sold a ridiculous amount of Undergargants. Obviously, we would make money, so that would be great. But ignoring that, I like the idea that James just has to be like really stressed because he sold like 400 pairs of pants.
Becomes the new Undergargant mogul.
That's the only reason I want them to sell. Like.
Just me sticking pants in envelopes all night.
And then everyone can be like, "Oh, James has fingered my pants." Oh, whatever. This is so dumb. Anyway. Oh. We've got to go. Right,
Yeah.
okay. Twitch chat. It's been nothing but a pleasure to you, Twitch chat. You are YouTube chat and Facebook chat and all you guys. Podcasters. I hope your ears have been full of joy, is what I hope. I'm going to have to thank my two show hosts. Nathan Prescott, the man, the myth, the legend. How are you? What are you going to do this week? You got any plans?
I'm gonna hopefully dodge the Rona and maybe get some more paint on these little fuckers. These Stormcast Eternals.
Can you give me a percentage update, please?
Yeah, it's 32.5% done at the moment. Got a couple of base coats on and some washes.
Oh, nice. Also, quick question. How are you feeling in your feelings place at the moment? How's that going?
Don't know. I avoid that place as much as I can. It's a weird one.
Okay, and then James. James, you got any plans this week? What are you going to be up to?
I think realistically, hopefully, if I can keep my hobby mojo going, I'm going to try and finish some more of this Warcry stuff. Maybe get on a board and maybe take a photo. See if I can bring that for next week or put it online before next week, before all this new stuff comes out for us to talk about. How about you, Robert? Anything?
I've got my Tree Lord Ancient to paint up, which I'm very, very excited about. I've also got a Squigoth to paint, so I've got a lot of hobby. But I'm mainly going to be painting up the arena, try and make that just like get that done ASAP. Seeing Big Goldfish at the weekend, so we're hopefully turning a part of the arena into a kitchen. What we're going to make for food, no idea yet, but like very excited about that. And just trying to get it up to standard, so when we can eventually hold events again at the arena, it's going to be tip-top. So that's probably my plans this week, as well as obviously doing Stream Streets. Got the Stream Street tomorrow. Wednesday, I've got Pete the Wargamer on. Very lovely man. You should go check that out. That's going to be a fun time. So sorry. All right, well, I just want to say thanks to everyone for joining us live. If you're on Twitch, I am going to go and raid. Some people have been raiding us all the time, which has been really nice. So we should go raid them back, which I think I can still do this while we're live. I'll try and make this happen now. If you guys are interested, raid. Let's try it out. This is always really fun to do.